Donald Trump was presented with the reality that if Democrats take the House in November, he's getting impeached. And his reaction was, to say the least, a little bit weird, but he seemed shaken up by it. Here's Hugh Hewitt saying to Trump, listen, the Democrats win the House, they're going to impeach you. Would J.D. Vance represent you in that case? Kind of a weird question, actually. And Trump just goes, I don't like to think about it. But we know he's scared because he's talked about it. And Mike Johnson has talked about it, and so have others. But here is Trump being asked about it.
If the Democrats win the House, they're going to impeach you. And I don't care what the argument is. They're just going to find a way to impeach you. You know, J.D. Vance could represent you, and he can be in the Senate doing the same thing. Have you thought about that? He's a good lawyer.
Well, I don't like to think about it too much because I think we're going to do well. In fact,
it's hard to think of a sillier idea than the vice president representing the president in an impeachment trial in the Senate. It's just superficially very stupid. But Trump really does not want to be impeached again. And we all know that if Democrats don't take the Senate, Trump will never be convicted in the Senate. But it is the responsibility of the House of Representatives, as I've explained before, to evaluate whether the president has engaged in impeachable actions. And if the president has, then you have to impeach and you let the cards fall where they may. Trump plays it off like a badge of honor. They impeached me twice over a perfect phone call and this and that. But he doesn't want that as his legacy. And I think Trump will be impeached by the House if Democrats take the House. He won't be convicted. And that, combined with investigations and oversight and subpoenas and testimony, it's going to make it a really tough 2 years for Donald Trump, but we've got to make sure we vote and make that a reality. Donald Trump disgustingly refers to Kamala Harris as half a person. And I couldn't help but remember that at one point in American history, Kamala Harris would have been considered 3/5 of a person, the 3/5 compromise related to slaves, black people, etc. And Trump now goes, she counts as half. Now, I know Donald Trump is not contextualizing this in the context of the 3/5 compromise, but a black woman who only counts as half, dear God, he can't help himself.
When that loser from ABC did the debate, and he was so biased, and it was him and an unknown woman, but who was a radical left person.
Right.
And I said, well, wait a minute, this is 2.5 against 1. They said, who's the half? I said, Kamala is the half.
Kamala is the half. Hey, quickly, have you been seeing less of me on your YouTube feed? You would not be the first to say so. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube to ensure you don't miss a thing. Back to the clip. This is dehumanizing misogyny. Dehumanizing misogyny. Nothing new from Donald Trump, but that's what it is. Trump, with his relatable subjects, we're building a heliport because we don't want my many helicopters landing in the mud and getting the wheels all dirty. Really relatable stuff.
Building a heliport because for years they should have had it built at the White House. You know, they're landing in the mud all the time. And so we're building a little heliport, not that little actually, but a heliport.
People were promised gas is going to be so much more affordable, but it's more expensive. And people were promised energy is going to be so much more affordable, but it's more expensive. And people were promised you're going to see wage growth that exceeds inflation. Inflation is up and wage growth is down. And people were promised affordability will be the number one priority as we don't do any new wars. And it all didn't happen. None of it happened. And Trump goes with, we're building a heliport because I can't have my helicopters landing in the mud. They, on the right, continue to be obsessed with the official language of the United States. Hugh Hewitt has an idea. Don't make the official language English because that sounds British, like English as in of England. Make the official language American, which will piss off the people who speak Spanish, and it will piss off, I don't know, I guess it'll piss off everybody. Who the hell knows? It's very weird.
I got 3 suggestions for you. Number 1, there was an essay in the Washington Post, make American the official language of America, not English. I think you ought to look at that because it's a good idea.
All right.
All right. Trump's like, whatever. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'll do whatever people suggest. It sounds more interesting than actually doing the normal job of president of the United States. Make the official language American. American. And then finally, in one of the most humiliating interviews I've ever seen, Trump is abruptly cut off because they needed to air an AI-generated talking dog commercial for Medicare Advantage, which really tells you a lot about the demographic groups that are watching this crap. Take a look at this.
No, I would love to do something like that. I can't imagine they do it, but if they would do it, I would do it.
If your human is new to Medicare, recently moved,
This is a dog talking, by the way.
or losing coverage, sit and listen to this important message.
Finding Medicare Advantage.
It's me.
All right. An interview with the president of the United States. I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to that speech on Thursday, not because I think Trump's going to announce anything that is going to help anybody but himself, but because he's having a very bad week and he's looking and sounding as bad as he ever has. And Hugh Hewitt doing everything he can to rescue Donald Trump. Thanks for watching. Check out this other video. And if you like our content, make sure to subscribe so YouTube puts our videos in your feed, and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple.